All right, 3.2 is on sampling techniques and what are the types of sampling and how do I use a random digit table. So far we've discussed two sampling designs. There is voluntary sampling and there is convenience sampling. So voluntary is when there's a question in the paper and someone reads that and they call that number or they reach out to that website and do the sampling. Convenience sampling is when you're like at the mall or you're at the front doors of the doctor's like the hospital and you ask people a question on the way in. That's convenience sampling because they're right in front of you. These are not good techniques because of bias. So a simple random sample which is SRS, is an example of a probability sample. In this case, each individual has an equal chance of being picked. All right, so everyone has the same likelihood of being picked for this sample. So randomly selecting a number of individuals from the entire population. For example, if I want to randomly choose 5 students from the 834 students at Logan High School. So all 834 people have the same likelihood of being picked. Sometimes the population size is very large. And the individuals within the population occur in groups. Right. When this happens, using a simple random sample may not be the best way to randomly and accurately represent the population within the sample. So a stratified random sample divides the population into groups of similar individuals. You choose a separate simple random sample for each group and combine these simple random samples to form the full sample. For example, if you are randomly selecting 10 students from a sample of 200, where 120 are boys and 80 are girls, you would randomly select 5 boys and 5 girls. You would then combine them to form your full sample. Why is different than the simple random sample? Girls are more likely to get picked than boys. So why is this more likely? So if you divide into groups of boys and girls, and there's 120 boys and 80 girls, if you're a boy and they're picking one boy, the chance of being picked is 1 out of 120. If you're a girl and you're being picked, your chances are only 1 out of 80. So it's more likely they pick you if you're a girl because there's less girls to pick from. So stratified is when we break them into, whoops, I spelled that wrong. Break them into groups. Then there's a systematic random sample. This is a method of selecting sample members from a larger population according to a random starting point. And a fixed periodic interval. So for example, if you are randomly selecting 5 students from a sample of 200, when you divide 200 by 5, you will get intervals of 40. This means you would then randomly select a number from 1 to 40 and pick numbers 40, 80, 120, 160 away from that to represent your students. So this is when you break it into chunks. So if you randomly pick 22, okay, the other numbers would be 62 because that's 40 bigger. It'd be 102 because that's 80 bigger. It would be 142 because that's 120 bigger. and it will be 182 because that is 160 bigger. So 40 bigger, 80 bigger, 120 bigger, and 160 bigger than 22. So why is this not a very good method? This almost guarantees 1 and 2 are never to be picked together. So it's like if you line people up, all 200 people, and you pick every 40th person. Okay, the people standing next to each other will never get picked together because they're side by side and you're picking every 40th person. To be completely random, we must use a random digit table, which we're going to talk about in class. Step 1 is you assign a numerical value to each individual, and all individuals must have the same number of digits. So either everyone has 2 digits or everyone has 3 digits. No one can have, like if we're a group of 10 people, one person doesn't have the number 22 and someone else has the number 1. They all have the same number of digits. And we always want to use the smallest number of digits. Okay. And then step 2 is look at the random digit table and start however you like, unless it is specified like in the school setting. So each sample could be a little bit different. So example 1, if we want a simple random sample, what 2 individuals would randomly be picked from this group of adults? Use the random digit table provided starting at line 101. So we have Steve, Mary, Kurt, Matt, Ashley, Andy, Jessa, Molly, Alec, Tremont, and Wendy. So how many people are there in this group? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 people. So we're going to use 2 digits because 12 is 2 digits. So 2 digits is what we'll use for every person. And we always start at 0, 0. So 0, 0, then 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5, 0, 6, 0, 7, 0, 8, 0, 9, and then 10, 11. So notice 11 is one less than 12, which is the total number of people. That's how it's always going to happen. So if there are 20 people, the last person will be number 19. Okay, so then when we go through this random digit table, what we do is starting with line 101, you divide it into every 2 numbers. So the first number would be 19, then 22, then 39, then 50, then 34, then 05, then 75, then 62, then 87, then 13. So notice it's 2 digits we're dividing it into. So who are the first ones we get that are, from 0, 0 to 1, 1. So 19 is not any of those numbers. 22 is not any of those numbers. The first number that comes up that is a number we want is 05. Okay, so 05 is going to be Ashley. So we would say, all right, well, 05 will be Ashley. She was the first person randomly picked. And then we have 75. And as we keep going, 13, 96, 40, 91, 25, 31, 42, 54. Okay, and we'll keep going. Starting in line 2, we have 73, 67, 64, 71, 50, 99. Did I screw that up? 50, 99. Then we have 40. And then it looks like right here we get 0, 0. So the next number is 0, 0, which would be Steve. So we take every 2 digits in each line and we keep working our way through. So example 2, if we want a stratified random sample, what 4 individuals would you randomly pick if we want 2 boys and 2 girls? So in example 2, we want a stratified random sample. Let me fix this. So stratified means we want to put it into 2 groups. So we have to break this into groups of boys and girls because it says we want to pick 2 boys and we want to pick 2 girls. Okay, so let's list the boys first. So the boys would be Devin, George, Aaron, Freddie, Sean, Steve, Martin, Josh, Keith, and Billy. And then for the girls, I'll list them. The girls would be Sydney, Jasmine, Paula, Janice, oops, I spelled that wrong. Janice. And then Aaron and Carlita. Okay, so we got the boys and girls broken up into groups. It says we're going to pick 2 boys, 2 girls. What 4 individuals we pick? And we have to put numbers for these now to do our simple random sample. So the numbers we're going to use, let's count up how many are in each. So how many boys are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 boys means we can still do single digits because if we start with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So single digits will work if there's 10 or less. For the girls, we can do single digits as well. So Sydney 0, Jasmine 1, Paula 2, Janice 3, Aaron 4, and Carlita 5. So we give them all a number, kind of like marathon runners all have a number when they run the race. Everyone has a number because we're going to randomly pick some people. So we're doing single digits. So you can kind of pick which line you want to go with. Let's do line 132 for the boys and line 134 for girls. Whoops, 32 and 134. And I'm going to say you must say which line you pick if you're not told. I'm pretty sure that like 99% of the time in this class, they tell you you must use line whatever. But if they don't tell you, you have to just say which line you picked. So we're going to pick line 132 and line 134. So for the boys, let's do line 132. So if we look at line 132, we're doing 1 digit. So the first single digit is 6. The second one is 8. Oops, that didn't work very well. So let me zoom in. Line 132 would be 6 and 8. So who would be the boys that would be picked? Well, 6 would be Martin. And 8 would be Keith. Okay, so as you see that picking 1 digit is much faster. And then for line 134, the first one is 2. The second one is 7. So 2 would be Paula. Who's number 7 for the girls? And if you look, there is no number 7 for the girls, so we have to keep going. So we did 2, we did 7, we did 8. Is there a number 8 for the girls? There is not. The next single digit would be number 1. So number 1 would be Jasmine. So we just keep going until we get 2 numbers that are from that group. So the 2 numbers we got were 2 and 1, which would be Paula and Jasmine. Okay, and that's how we randomly choose a group of people.